Hi guys, this is a picture of what we did last time. This is called 1-point perspective, and again it's fooling our eyes or tricking us into thinking there's depth in our picture. Our paper is flat. It only has 2 dimensions, height and width, and we've created the illusion of depth by doing the perspective. And this we called the vanishing point. The line that separates the sky from the land we call the horizon line. So this is our street and this is the sidewalk, and these are some big buildings downtown. Now we're going to do a different perspective. This was called 1 point. This is called 2-point perspective. And in this picture, imagine you're standing right in the middle of the street and you're looking down the street, okay? In this picture, you're looking a different direction. Instead of looking down over here, you're at the corner and you can look this way and see a street over here and look this way and see a street over here. So the angles of the buildings, you're just in a different location. So we're gonna use the same ideas, but instead of 1 vanishing point, we're going to have 2 vanishing points, okay? 1 here and 1 here. And here's our tall buildings. The tallest buildings will be in the front, in the middle, and they'll get smaller as they get towards the vanishing point. And then this is like the sidewalk down here, and then here's the 2 streets. So we're going to approach it very similarly as our 1-point perspective. We're going to take the ruler, and we're going to, I think we did 4 inches with the other one, so we'll stick with the 4 inches. So we're gonna measure on the edge here at 4 inches. I'm gonna make a dot here on the edge of the paper, and I'm gonna try to keep my head out of the paper. I have to lean over sometimes to make sure I'm being exact. That's 4 there, and I'm gonna go 4 from this side. So going backwards here, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got 4 inches on this side and 4 inches on this side. Make sure I'm double check I'm correct. And then I'm gonna draw that line straight across, and this will be my horizon line or my ground line. So here's my ground and here's my sky. Okay, so I'm literally gonna just make a dot right here, and then I'll make that my little vanishing point, okay? Now I'm gonna do my corner, but I don't want it to be in the middle. So if I measure my paper here, I've got 11 inches. Instead of doing 5.5, which would be the very middle, I think I'm gonna do it at I think I'll do it at just 5. It'll just be a 1/2 inch difference, okay? So there's my front point, okay? All right, so what I'm gonna do is make my sidewalk first. So I'm going to go from the vanishing point to this point right here. So there's my front line, and here's my other line. It's going to my front point, okay? So I'm gonna make a sidewalk. I think I'm gonna make my sidewalk be, I think I'll make it a little bit more than 1 inch. I'll go 1.25 inches. Okay, so there's my end of my sidewalk. So I'm gonna draw my line to that dot there. It's a little bit tricky starting out, and then I'm gonna go from the line to the dot there, okay? So I'm gonna erase that there. Okay, so looks like a boomerang kind of. So I measured 4 inches up here, 4 inches up here, and then I drew the line there. And then I measured across here, and I did a little off center. You can put it wherever you want, but just make a dot somewhere here, and then draw the line to the vanishing point, and then you can make a measurement. If it helps you to draw the line straight up here, and just make the line up as far as you want, and then go from that dot to that vanishing point, and then to the other vanishing point. Okay, so we'll deal with that line later. Okay, so to make the buildings, I'm gonna make my tallest building because I'm standing here on the corner. So if I'm standing, the building closest to me is gonna appear to be very tall. this is the vanishing points, and this is going down this street and down this street. So these buildings are going to be littler. Okay, so I'm going to make this building quite tall. And remember, I'm going to make sure it's straight. I'm not going to make the line like that. I'm going to try to make it as straight as possible. And I'm going to look at I can line my paper up, and I'm going to look at the line that I made there. And I'm just going to try to make it be as straight as possible in line with the edge of the paper or the line that I just drew. So here's my first building. This is the right side, this is the left side. Now, same thing on the bottom. I already have a sidewalk, but I'm just going to reinforce the line. The bottom of the line goes from this side to that vanishing point, and the bottom of this line, and the bottom part of the building on this side, is going to go from there to the vanishing point. Now the top, it's pretty tall, so it's going to be a pretty extreme angle. It's going to get more extreme the closer we get to the vanishing point. So I'm going to go down there for that side, and this one's going to be a little more angled because it's closer to this vanishing point. So the angles will be a little bit different on that building. So I'm going to erase the excess. Okay, so there's building number 1, okay? Now, this is going to be a little bit tricky, so just kind of follow along and you'll get it. I'm going to make the center wall like I just did here. So I'm going to make one line, and then I'm going to make my other line over here all the way to the bottom. Now, the other line is behind this building, so I'm going to complete this wall right here. I'm going to go from the floor on this wall to the vanishing point, okay? And then I'm going to go from the roof up here to the vanishing point. I don't want to just make any direction. I want to take it to the vanishing point. So it's like, it may not appear to look right, it may not make sense, but just follow the rules and it will make sense in the end. Now, I need to make the floor on this building because it's not on the street or on the sidewalk. So I'm going to go to the corner, the bottom of the building, and I'm going to go to the direction of that vanishing point way over here. Okay, this one, I'm going to, it's being overlapped by this other building, so I don't see the other wall, but I'm going to draw that line there, okay? So the floor goes to that vanishing point, kind of an angle, and then the roof will go to that vanishing point as well, okay? And I'm going to erase the excess, okay? So I'm going to make another building. I'll make this one a little bit shorter, I think. So I'm going to make that go to there. And I'll make it go like this. And I'm not going to draw the end of the wall over here because it's hidden behind that other building. So I'm going to draw the floor. So the floor on the right side of the building is going to go to the right vanishing point. The floor on the left side of the building is going to go to the left vanishing point. No matter where it is on the paper, the left side of the building always goes to the left. The right side of the building, the angles always go to the right side. So the right side of the building is going to go to the right vanishing point. So, and I don't have to draw that back wall because it's hidden behind that building. And then this one is going to be pretty steep because it's close to the vanishing point. The closer it is to the vanishing point, remember, it's going to look pretty steep. It's going to be pretty extreme. Just play by the rules. It'll make sense when you have the picture in the end. When you're drawing, it may seem kind of silly or it doesn't seem like it's right. Trust me, it'll be right in the end, okay? So this building's going to have a really extreme, steep angle on the roof. Okay, so I'm going to go on the floor here to the right side of the building, to the right vanishing point. The ceiling, the right part of the ceiling, the roof, the right part of the roof is going to go to the vanishing point on the right side. Now, the floor on the left side of this building is going to go to the vanishing point on that side. And notice how the roof is going to be really extremely slanted here because it's very close to the vanishing point. So it's very extreme perspective, but it's going to look correct. Okay, so there's my buildings going to that direction. If I want to double check again, The corner is going to be what I'm looking at, and then the right side building is going to go to the right side vanishing point. The left side of the building is going to go to the left. So I can double check by just lining the floor up of every building, lining the floor up of this one to that vanishing point in the ceiling. So floor and the ceiling match. And then I'm going to go ceiling, backwards, ceiling, then floor, goes to the vanishing point. That looks right. That one on this roof looks right, and then the floor looks right there. Now I'm going to go on this side. The roof goes to that vanishing point. This roof goes to that vanishing point. This roof goes to that vanishing point. This roof goes. Let's do the floors, all the floors. And they're right on the, for this one. When it's on the sidewalk, it's going to go directly with the line you already made. Okay, so we're going to do some buildings on this side. So let's do, I'll make this building a little bit shorter. I'll go a little bit higher up. Extend it just a tad. Okay, so now there's my wall. On this side, I'm going to draw the floor. Line it up to the vanishing point. Don't draw the line till it's lined up. Don't just draw what you think is a good angle. Line it to the vanishing point. Make sure it's always lined up to the point in the corner of the building. So there's my vanishing point. Here's the corner of my building. Okay, so there's my angle. Now I have to draw, I haven't drawn that back or the sidewall yet. So I'm going to draw this sidewall a little bit. That's going to be kind of a big building. So this angle is going to be pretty extreme because it's closer to the vanishing point. And then the floor is already on the sidewalk like before. So it's already on the vanishing point. So I'm going to have that there. Okay, so that's a pretty big, doesn't look really big, but it appears to be pretty big. So I'm going to make my next building, I think I'll put it right, I'll make this a little bit, no, I'll go ahead and make it. Okay, so the floor is going to go to this vanishing point on the left side. The ceiling is going to go to the vanishing point. I'm going to lower that a little bit. And then I'll draw this back wall or the side wall. Sometimes it helps to have your paper straight. It might help you see it better. So I'm going to go from the corner to the vanishing point. The closer to the vanishing point, the more steep that, especially the roof part is. And then I'm going to line the bottom part up and just darken that up. Erase my excess, and I have room for one more little tiny building. So here's my wall. I'm going to go ahead and do the floor before I do the back wall. The floor there. I'm going to do my ceiling. It's not as extreme when it's farther from the vanishing point. I'm going to do my back wall. I'm going to line this up so I can get it pretty straight. Okay, so this is going to be a very extreme angle. Remember, from the corner down to the vanishing point. So that's a pretty steep angle right there. Okay, and then I'm going to do my floor. There's my angle there. Okay, all right, I'm going to erase my excess. So there I have my building. So I'm standing here. I'm looking down that street and down that street. Depends which way I turn my head, and I see the vanishing point there and a vanishing point there. Now, in the same way we did our like windows on our 1-point perspective. See how I made little dots? I can measure the dots and make them even, or I can just kind of visualize them. So I might do this, and it doesn't matter where it is on the ruler, really. I think I'm just gonna visually do it. I'm gonna make 2 and try to make them equally apart. And then I'll use this as a center one, and I'll do one here, do one here, do one here, and then do one here. Okay, so there's my markers to do the angles. Now, the same way, everything on the right side of the building from this dot is going to go to the vanishing point. So I'm going to go from here to there. And make sure I don't just go with what I think is the angle that works, because I'm not going to the vanishing point. I have to always go to the vanishing point. That's probably the biggest mistake that everybody makes is we forget to go to the vanishing point. We think we know the angle, and we might be kind of close, but we have to be right on. And even if you think it's going to be too steep and it doesn't make sense to you, just follow the directions and it's going to work, okay? This one I didn't really redraw that because this is a straight line and this is an angle, but it's going to be, it looks kind of funny that that's straight, but all the ones above are going to angle like this. All the ones below are going to angle like that. So these are angling up, these are angling down. Remember, this was our eye level. We talked about that being eye level. Here, I'll draw an eyeball there. We'll take that off later. That's my eye level, my horizon line. So on this side, on the left side, I'm going to draw all the lines from the same corner of the building, the same point here, and I'm going to line them up with the vanishing point. And once you get the structure on this one, I actually think the 2-point goes a little bit faster because you kind of know, you know what you're doing because you've done the 1 point, and you kind of know what to expect of, you know, where you're going. But you don't have to just guess what is straight. You're drawing, all the lines are angling towards some vanishing point. Okay, so let's go to this building. Let's do, I think I'll do 2 points here. I'll have them get a little bit tighter as we go. So I'm just going to do this whole one visually. I'm not going to measure with a ruler. I'm just going to make dots, okay? So there we go. So this side is going to go to the vanishing point. There's that. There's that. And if it helps you to turn it like, you know, a different direction, so you can see your lines. I'm turning it so I don't get my head in the video, because sometimes I have to lean over to see where my actual vanishing point is, and I don't want to block your view. So notice every line, I might think it should be this way, but if it's not lined up to the vanishing point, I shouldn't draw the line till it is. I've got to make sure that lines up with this, and it goes between the 2 lines. Okay, so that's that side of the building. Okay, then for this side of the building, I'm going to line this up with my vanishing point. I don't want to just do it anyway. Get it right on the corner, the vanishing point, and then I can just rotate that there if I want to keep that pretty tight there, and I can just kind of slide it. Sometimes that helps go easier. So I'm going to keep that right there on that vanishing point, and I'm just going to hold it steady and then just move the other part of the ruler, and that seems to work pretty well. If it gets a little bit off, just adjust it. And wherever there's a straight line, just draw it. It may seem funny. You're thinking, why is that corner a straight line? It's just because it's at eye level. Okay. Draw that in there, so I'll draw that line. Okay, all right, so there's that building. Let's do this other one. I'll do 2 here. Okay, so there's my dots. I'm going to the vanishing point. Make sure I line it up to the vanishing point. But see, it's pretty easy once you get going. Okay, now I'm going to go all the way across. I'll do that same method where I have that there, line that up. And then I'll hold this, I'll secure that and just kind of rotate this. Slide that far side of my ruler down where it should be. And get those windows on there. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm going to divide this one 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so almost done with this one side. From the point to the vanishing point, 1. This is going to be pretty steep angles on this. Whenever it's close to the vanishing point, the angles on that part are going to be really pretty steep. Okay, now this side it's going to be a little bit less because of the angle. Okay, so I'm done with the left side of my picture, okay? So all my lines are going from the vanishing point. I can check them like that. And then I'll go to this one. I'll erase my eye. I think on this one, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to erase the outline so that my eye level horizon line isn't going through. That might help it look more like a building for you. So I'm going to go 1, 2. I'm going to skip over that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. All right, so left side of the building, even though the building's on the right side of the paper, the left side of the building is going to go to the far vanishing point. Going to go to the left. Left side of the building goes to the left vanishing point. Right side of the building goes to the right vanishing point. Make sure you're lining them up. Now, almost done. Okay, so left side to the left vanishing point, right side to the right vanishing point. And so these are going to be pretty steep because this building's getting pretty close to the vanishing point. So the angles are going to appear to be a little bit steeper. As it gets closer to the horizon line, or what we would call eye level, they're going to flatten up a little bit. And then when we go below the horizon line, below our eye level, the angle is going to change. It's going to go up to the vanishing point. Okay, there's that one. Okay, let's mark this one. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do 7 on that one too. Okay, so we'll do this vanishing point first, which is pretty extreme angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now hold your ruler pretty steady. Sometimes if I don't hold it firmly, it'll shift when I do it. So I went to that. Left side of the building is going to go all the way over here to the left vanishing point. So it's double check. It's a long ways away. Make sure you've lined it up. I'm going to hold this down and just kind of slide this like we did before. That seemed to work. And secure your ruler on both sides once you have it in place. Just hold it firmly with your hand to make sure that you've got, I wasn't checking so well. I was too busy talking. And double check that line, make sure I got that one. That ankle's doesn't look like it's correct. Yeah. I wasn't paying attention, so that ankle was a little bit off. Okay, last building. I'll make that be my bottom line. 2, 3, let's do 4. Okay, so to the vanishing point on the right, all the right angles, right side of the building goes to the right vanishing point. And there we go. And then left side of the building goes all the way, angles all the way to the other vanishing point. It's a long ways away, so make sure you line it up correctly. Look at both your points. And double check that you're correct. Okay, there we go. So I'm done with all my angles. I'm gonna double check. All the right sides of all the buildings should go. So I'm just gonna kind of run my ruler down to the vanishing point and rotate it and just make sure all the lines are going to the right on this side. And then I'm gonna make sure they're going to the right over here too as well. I'm gonna check this side of the paper. Okay. They all look like they're going pretty well. I'm checking that these lines on the right side of every building are going to this. Now I'm going to check the left side of every building. Make sure this building, left side, yep, that's going to that. That's going to that. And I'm double checking. If I was giving grades, when I teach the older kids, I actually give them grades for their artwork to see if it's correct. This is how I would correct their paper. I would go down and make sure all these lines on this are going there. And I would do that on every single building to give them the grade to make sure the angles are correct. Okay, And I think those are correct. I won't take the time to do all that. Okay, so now, something that's a little weird here, to make the sidewalk look like it's not part of the wall, I'm gonna erase this line right here that I originally had. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go from the vanishing point, I'm gonna just continue this line of the bottom like that, across that way, and it will it'll give the sidewalk a flat look. If I wanted to create the illusion of lines in the sidewalk, I could do that all the way down my whole sidewalk if you want. I'll kind of show you a little bit. We won't draw driveways, but you could draw. Sometimes downtown, there's not like grass necessarily. There's a lot of parking lots, but you might see like a little area where they might have a tree along the sidewalk. They might have like little planters. So you could draw like a planter or something, but see, that kind of makes the sidewalk look a little flatter. So it's that divided. So you would go and you would do that by just going to the opposite side vanishing point and just kind of make those little, I probably should make them closer together, but you can, oops, that didn't. Sometimes I draw on the metal piece of the ruler and I don't actually draw on the paper. But make sure your pencil is, pretty sharp when you're doing this, because you want it to be exact and you don't really want a dull pencil when you're coloring it in. Remember when I say when you're coloring with colored pencils, sometimes you don't want it super sharp because it's brittle and it can sometimes break and it doesn't color as fast. Okay, so there's my picture. We'll stop there just for a quick break and then we'll start some coloring.